What is your most valuable asset? Is it your TV, your car, your house, or that deflated basketball you have in the garage signed by the entire team of the 94 Clippers? Well, I'm here to tell you that there is an asset out there that is more valuable than all of those things combined. More valuable than any company or industry, or even the entire Bitcoin market cap. You may even own some of this already. Can you guess what that asset is? It's your time. Your time is your most valuable asset. At first, this is an easy concept to discard. Okay, time is my most valuable asset. Thank you for the motivational Instagram post. But it's true. Without your time, you're unable to enjoy everything else life has to offer. Question is, do you own your time already? Or are you spending it on things you'd rather not? Between work, trips to the grocery store, taking out the garbage, doing the dishes, how much of your time do you actually own? As we grow, our lives require more and more resources to sustain themselves. More energy, money, and time. The problem with time is it needs a mechanism for storage. If you give someone your time, you're likely expecting something in return. So we need a way to store that time that was spent doing something else so we could use it for ourselves later down the line. That's what money is, if you didn't know.
You could think of money as economic energy, just like you could think of fat as organic energy. You eat a lot, you store fat, and now if you have to go without food for 2, 3, 4 weeks, you're not going to starve to death.
Money is a way of storing your time. Time you've spent working. But there's a couple problems here. The current way to store your time, the dollar, or the yen, or the euro, or the pound, they're all fiat currencies. Now, can any one of you tell me what a fiat currency is? Yes, go ahead. Yes, isn't that like a value by decree or like value derived from a central party policy and can be issued infinitely and backed only by the full faith and credit of our military industrial complex that creates governing mechanisms simply through capital controls? Yes, that's right. Fiat currencies like the dollar are printed into existence every single second, magically. These currencies are then pumped into our financial system, like water in our financial plumbing. But imagine in that network of pipes and valves, there's a leak. It starts small, but if not attended to, it'll turn into a bigger leak. That leads to a system that loses pressure and becomes weaker. Imagine what eventually happens in that system. A drip, a stream, a flood, whatever it is, it needs to be fixed. Now remember your most valuable asset? No, not that one. No, your fully owned time. And if you're living in a fiat currency system, are you living in a fiat currency system? Then the thing you use to store your time, your most valuable asset, is leaking at 2% a year.
In Venezuela, they had it. In Nigeria, they're getting it right now. You work, I give you $100, and the $100 buys you 4 meals, but then in 3 months, it buys you 1 meal, and then in 12 months, it buys you 1 soda, and in 24 months, it buys you nothing. Okay, so now you've got a problem. You can't store economic energy. So what happens when the currency dies or the money dies? Well, the society gets ripped back to Stone Age barter. What it means is you can't save anything. And also it means that the unit of account breaks down, so you can't trade.
Think of the leak like inflation. The more and more I pump in, if there's a leak, that energy does not stay. It deflates. So it requires more and more inflation to keep its shape. So this inflation rate that the Federal Reserve is trying to meet, this magic 2%, 3% inflation rate, this essentially is the amount of time that is leaking out of the system for all of us. USAFacts.org states that the current inflation rate is 3%. Now, it's probably much higher for you in your local jurisdiction. And that's 3% of your time that is leaking out of that system. The leak is getting pretty big, too. Since the severing of gold from the dollar in 1971, you know, the Nixon shock, the dollar has leaked 90% of its value, meaning you can buy 90% less with a dollar today than you could in 1971. Wow, I'm Nixon shocked. That's entropy, folks. Now, why on God's green screen would you ever want to store your time in a currency that is leaking 2, 3, or whatever percent a year? Imagine you're losing 2 to 3% of your time per year. Wouldn't you want to store your wealth in a system that doesn't leak your most valuable asset? Please tell me, what should I store my time in? Are you going to say Bitcoin? Because I swear to God, I'm going to leave if you say Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin. Bitcoin stores time like no other asset ever in all of history. But before we get to that, we're going to need some gear. In a time of crisis, you want to ensure that you and your loved ones have open communication lines no matter what's happening around you. Sat123.com has the solution for you. With their wide variety of survival gear, Faraday bags, satellite phones, and solar-powered generators, And if you go to sat123.com right now and you put the promo code SIMPLY, you'll get 15% off your purchase. Stay sovereign, stay connected with sat123.com. So what makes Bitcoin better than all the other time storage methods on the market? Bitcoin isn't just a speculative asset. It's a closed system, one without leaks. Programmed into Bitcoin is a 21 million supply cap. Okay, what does that mean? It means there's only ever going to be 21 million coins. Unlike the dollar, that other storage container for your time that leaks 2 or 3 or 4% a year, Bitcoin's network remains within a 21 million supply cap. So if you store your hard-earned work in Bitcoin today, we're very clear that the same amount of Bitcoin will be there tomorrow. This is different than if you store your hard-earned work into a $100 bill today, the same amount of $100 bills will not be there tomorrow, probably more. Your efforts will not be inflated away over days, weeks, months, or years. If properly secured, your 0.01 Bitcoin in your wallet today will be the same 0.01 Bitcoin in your wallet in 5 years, and its supply has not been added to or subtracted from. That value remains constant. No leaks. Okay, but how can I ensure that Bitcoin's value will rise over time? I think the better question is, will fiat lose value over time? Built into the mechanics of every fiat currency is a certainty that it will lose value over time. Remember, it's not more dollars that are desirable, it's more purchasing power. Because dollars lose their value over time, and that rate is only increasing because of inflation, Bitcoin absorbs that liquidity that's pumped into the system, making it appear as it's growing in value. But what's actually happening is that your dollars are getting weaker and weaker to an asset like Bitcoin. So the time you put in today, if stored in Bitcoin, not only will keep its purchasing power, but will likely increase in purchasing power over time, which is a return on your time. With this, Bitcoin preserves your time and makes your stored time more valuable.
So the money breaks down, the civilization breaks down. That's the danger. But normally in most modern societies, the money doesn't break down as a medium of exchange. It breaks down as a store of value. So that means that, yeah, you can store money for 12 to 36 months or maybe up to 10 years in the dollar. You can't store it for a lifetime. So if you have some money, you can't just store the money. If you want to keep your economic energy, you have to gamble it or invest it. You have to speculate with it, or, you worked your entire life, you have a certain amount of retirement, and now if you store it in the bank, it'll be worth nothing. So you have to go and invest it in the stock market. But if you pick wrong, you lose it. So we basically force people to be gamblers, speculators, or hedge fund managers if the money's broken.
Your time is the one thing you have on this earth. And if you don't know how to store it, you may end up losing it. Do yourself a favor and go store your time in something that can't be manipulated and printed out of nothing. That's Bitcoin. And if you want a great way to earn Bitcoin in the background, then you need to check out Sazmining.com. Sazmining.com offers hosted mining services powered by renewable hydro-powered facilities. You own the rig, they take care of the uptime, maintenance, and electricity required to run your miners. Imagine collecting Bitcoin straight to your wallet, earning it through mining without having to set up an entire mining operation in your garage. And if you go to Sazmining.com, you put the promo code SIMPLYBITCOIN, you'll get $100 off your first rig. Book a call with one of their expert team members and start mining today at Sazmining.com. Fiat is a leaking system. It's leaking 2% of your most valuable asset a year. Bitcoin, on the other hand, preserves your time and increases the purchasing power of your time over time. So which one would you choose to store your time? Fiat or Bitcoin? Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you see and you want to see more, make sure you hit that like button below, or you can subscribe to the Simply Bitcoin channel for more content like this. I'm Oceans. This is Beyond Bitcoin. Until next time.